using some ID, that is a pencil ID, and that is also the username, and that is also the BPM username, right?
Yes. So let me look at. I'm just sharing the process map here, right? So this is the as is at the minute. So during onboarding, the help desk will create an ABC username, and they'll create a Gulliver profile. Generally, they would normally create both, and they will assign the AZ role, the Gulliver AZ role, so that the role-based access will give the correct access to each users. Also, the GM permissions will allow access to Gulliver and TG and Citizen, and it will also allow access to the relevant data sets that user is allowed to see. So, for instance, is it AWC? Is it rest of world? Is it AOIC? Or what is it? What data sets are they allowed to use? So all those setups will be done as normal. Now, if we look at Citizen, you can see here that when we look at BPM or Citizen, when a user goes into BPM Citizen, the username that's shown on the screen and that's used for processing and recording against tasks and claims is the ABC username. Okay? So it's the ABC username. So the Gulliver username is not required in Citizen or BPM at all at the moment. It's not required at all. It's not used. It's only the ABC username. So going forward, when we have this randomized username, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have these randomized usernames going to be reported against claims, and the officers are going to say, who the hell processed that claim? Don't know. They have to look up a sheet to see what that randomized code is, and it's causing all sorts of trouble. So that's the problem that we have to solve. If we look at the other apps, the Gulliver, the TG, and the HUS, the username that it uses is the Gulliver username. So the Gulliver username we control, and we can put that to whatever we want, and we currently do, and we will continue to do, to record that as being the first initial of the first name, and then the username, as in J Timmins, for each of these apps. So we don't envisage that we have a problem going forward with these, but with this one here, we do have a problem. So, and the thing is, at the moment, Citizen doesn't even look for the Gulliver username. Now, what we're doing as part of this solution is to... Joe? Yes. Yeah, go on.
I just wanted to share my screen very quickly with Citizen. That's the question.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you see my screen there?
It's coming up.
Anand,
Can you see it?
Jana,
No, yeah.
I'm meeting till very.
We can say
Yeah, you can. Yeah, okay. So just basically, you're talking about this, like this is someone's test username in Citizen.
Yeah.
So this is what is causing the issues at the moment. When you go between BPM and Citizen, this is BPM here, isn't it? When I just log in,
Yeah.
this is the BPM part, and then when you're referring to Citizen, it's
अरे बाळा तिकडे पाणी सगळं खाली येईल मग.
So the to be solution for us is to force the Gulliver username to be used. So we need to create and use the Gulliver profile, which has the identifiable name for the user in Citizen and BPM. So that's the solution. At the moment, it's not required, but the solution is to add in validations, to force it to be used, and to force that it is available for users that open up BPM and Citizen. And when they do have their profile, we'll read the Gulliver username, and we will use the Gulliver username instead of the ABC username going forward. So that's what the solution is. Okay? So what the user stories that we're going to look at are one of the different scenarios that lead to that situation.
Just one question here.
Yeah.
Sorry. If you like when we have the document, right? So first is that the user is logged in. Okay, so he himself has the person is logging in. He himself has to have the profile, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, he will not get the screen. And when he is able to search, then the officers to whom the task has been assigned, for them in the column it should be the delivery username, right?
Just yeah. So when the officer logs in, we check the profile and we use his profile going forward. Yes.
Okay.
So then if for instance we were doing say a claim search, for example, so we wouldn't be just looking at his claims. We'd be looking at other people's claims on the screen. So what we will be doing is we will be reporting what is stored in the database. We have as out of scope in this project that we are not changing any existing data. So we're not. So all the data that's there at the moment that has the randomized usernames on them, we're not changing them. So if they are already stored in these values in this username, they will stay there and they will be reported as such. We're not changing existing data. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and the profile that we are checking is for the person who is logging in, right? That he has to have that access, right?
Yes. He has to have that access. But if he's looking at other people's data, we won't be checking for their data.
Their profile, okay. So basically, like, I think we asked this question last time from the database team. So if there's a new user, then you will be having the deliver profile. We will take that. If it's an existing user, then we will be taking his ABC username only, right? Because that data is not.
लाईट बंद कर. मोठं बंद करणार नाही झालं असेल तर.
नाही मी करतो
बाळा तिकडे पाणी सगळ्या घरात होईल. झालं लवकर बंद करून दे 2 मिनिटात.
मी ड्रॉइंग करतो मी नाही कुठे सांग.
Claims to a user, we will need to assign them against the Gulliver username, not the randomized ABC username. If Jay Timmons was logged in, I wanted to assign to Anne-Marie Derham. What I will be doing is I will be just assigning it to Anne-Marie Derham's Gulliver username, not her randomized username. We won't be assigning we won't be assigning. They won't be appearing in the list. We would only be assigning going forward Gulliver against Gulliver usernames, against Gulliver usernames, not against other
झालं
to
कर
issue reissue new usernames to those. But apart from that, those that have their usernames at the moment will continue have them, whether they're the randomized characters or they're the full initial and username. They will continue to. So there's no new project to roll out new usernames to all users or anything like that. That's not going to happen. Okay. Okay. As I say, that's the solution. The solution is to use the Gulliver username going forward, not the ABC username, because we control the Gulliver username and we can't control the other one because that's randomized. Now, assumptions. So it's not necessary for an officer processing a claim to be able to see their own name on screen during processing. However, it is necessary for a supervisor, team leader, manager, reviewer to be able to see a colleague's username against claims tasks on screen in various scenarios. So, say on that screenshot, Anne-Marie, that you showed earlier, where a user logged in and you can see the user can see their own username up at the top of the screen. That's not it. I'm not proposing that we change that. There's no requirement to change that, but it's where there are reviewers, team leaders, managers, where there's investigations that need to happen, claims, etc. Rerouting. That's where we need to see who in the processing. while